Hi everybody, this is one in a series of videos on MLA formatting, and we'll include how to set up your documents, do in-text citations, works cited entries, and all that good stuff. We're going to start off with how to format your paper, your actual document to type your essay into. So this video is specifically if you are using an online version of Word, because desktop apps and online versions for Word are different. So the way that you know if you are using an online version of Word is that you have to get to it through the internet. So for example, I'm going to pull up Wilkes Community College is a wonderful community college that is very gracious to allow me to use them as an example. I loved working here. It's a fantastic school. So if you are logging in to your school's website, so whatever school that you are going to, if you are going to your school's website and you are getting into Word this way. So for us, we use Office 365. You would click on this icon and it would open up your Office 365, and you've got lots of different apps that you can use, everything from your Outlook email to Teams, Excel, PowerPoint, and Word, all of which are included in Office 365 online. Your school probably has something similar, and so if you are getting in this way through your school system to Word, this is an online version of Word, and that's what this video is for, to set up your document using this version. So I'm here in Word. I'm going to click on a blank document because we're going to start fresh. So what shows up for me might look different than what shows up for you. For example, when you log in, you may only see this. Now this is called the simplified ribbon. That little part at the top with all your buttons and stuff is the ribbon. So this is the simplified version, and this is not very helpful. So what you want to do first is make sure that you can see the classic ribbon. So you go over here to the very right hand side and you click on the little down arrow where it says ribbon, and you're looking at your ribbon layout. What you want is the classic ribbon. Once you click on that, that should be what shows up when you log in, like it did for me. So this gives you a lot more options that you can see really easily. So now that we're in here, the first thing you need to do is come up here where it says document 28 for me, save your document. Okay, you can give it your assignment name and your last name and maybe the draft number or whatever, but make sure that you save it. Do not let it save as document 28. You'll never find it again. Okay, save your document under something different, something searchable and findable. Now we're going to start off by checking your margins and checking your and fixing your spacing and stuff. So go to layout, under margins. It should be set to normal. This should be the default, but you always want to check it to be sure. It should be top, bottom, left, right, all set at 1 inch. So this is good. I'm going to go ahead and change in the Home tab. I'm going to change my font. Most of your instructors are probably going to want you to use Times New Roman size 12. The default for Word is Calibri, so we want to change that to Times New Roman. And the default size is 11. You want to change that to 12. Okay, so we've got that all set up. So the next thing that we need to do is the spacing. So the spacing for lines in Word, their default is kind of funky. And it's got some stuff in it that we need to fix. Now most students go here to line spacing with the little up and down arrows, and they just go and they click on 2 because we want double spacing. The problem is that default Microsoft sets up with spacing, additional spacing before and after every time you hit enter in a document. That's the part that we need to take out. So instead of just clicking double here, go down to where it says line spacing options. Click on that, and that's going to open your paragraph spacing box. And you can see your general alignment right now is left. We're going to leave that right where it is. Indentations, we're not going to do anything with that yet. You'll see that again later. It's the spacing we want to check right here. Before being 0 point is perfectly fine, but look where it says after. The default for Microsoft sets 8 points of additional space every time you hit enter. We don't want that. We want that to be 0. Oops. So we're going to move that down to where it says 0 point. We want to make sure that it does that. Now under line spacing, we don't want multiple spacing, we want double spacing. Okay, so we got double spacing. Everything here looks good. Hit OK. Okay, so now our spacing is set up. So the first thing, let's go ahead and, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Let's get your MLA heading that goes in the top left-hand side of your Word document. So the first thing that you type is your name. So that I'm going to use student name. And you hit enter. Now the next line down needs to have your instructor's name. If your instructor is a doctor, be sure to include that. If they are not a doctor, Mr. or Ms. is fine. So I'll just use my name here. Okay. Next line down needs to be the course. It needs to be the name and your section number. That section number identifies which of my 7 English classes are you actually in. So if I'm an instructor and I have 150 students in 7 or 8 English 111 classes, I need to know exactly which class you as a student are in. So I'm going to use my acronym. Make sure that you use ENG or ENGL or whatever your class acronym is. Those are in all caps. Then the course number. So for us, that would be English 111. And then you need to include your section number. So for me, I'm going to use WB31 as an example. That tells me as the instructor, this is the particular section that this student is in. Then hit enter and you need to do the date, but MLA does dates weird. They do 2 digits for the day, spell out the month, and then the year. So today is September 8th, but I can't just write September 8, 2023. I have to use 2 digits for the day first. So since 8 is a single digit, you start off with a 0. So it should be 08. So anything 1 to 9 needs to start with a 0. Then you spell out the month, September, and then the year. Oops. All right, so now you have your date in there. Make sure that you spell out the month. Do not use an abbreviation. Hit enter, and the next line down is going to have your title. I don't have a title yet, so I'm just going to put my title here as an example and hit enter. Notice that I'm using title casing. Title casing is how you capitalize titles. So it's always the first and last word and all of the content words in the middle. Usually that's words with 3 or 4 letters or more. It doesn't include like articles, a, an, and the. It doesn't include small prepositions, but everything else gets capitalized. Now that title is going to need to be centered. So we're going to highlight that. And up here where it says paragraph, you can see that what's highlighted right now is the left aligned. We want it to be the center one. So it says align center. All right, so this stuff is done. The next thing that we need to do is get our last name and the page numbers in the top right. This is where students screw this up all the time, so pay attention. You don't want to insert a header. We want this stuff to be in the header space, but we don't actually use insert header. So when you go to insert, what you're actually going to do is insert page numbers. So don't go to header and footer, click on insert page numbers. And then it says you got to choose where you want it. Well, MLA says top right. So that is the first row, the last one. So it's the one that has the 1 in the top right. And you click that. Now this is where the online version of Word is a little different. Do you see that number code? That is the computer's way of telling you, hey, we will fill in the number there for you. Don't touch the code. Okay? The computer will take care of that for you. No touchy. All you have to do is type your last name and a space. That is it. Do not do anything else here. So, last name, space. Don't forget the space. Once you've done that, double click back here. Now, it looks, when you are looking at your document, it looks like it disappeared. All you see now is the word header. The way to check to make sure that it is correct is to look at this in the reading view. So go to view. And right now you're in the separate pages. You're in an editing view. But what you want to do to check to make sure that it's there and right is hit reading view. This is basically a print preview. If I printed my paper, this is what it would look like. And here you can actually see, oh yeah, my last name and page numbers are up there. I'm good. So once you double check that, then you want to go to editing your document. So we're going to go back to the original view that we were just looking at. Now we've got this all set up, but while we're in here, we want to go ahead and set up our works cited page so that it is ready to go. So this is where I would be writing. So my essay goes here. Okay. Now, when you are ready to put in your works cited page, you do not want to hit enter a bunch of times to move to the next page. The problem with that is that it creates a bunch of extra lines, empty lines of space. So when you go to edit your essay and you add sentences, you take sentences away, you move things around, every time you're making those changes, your Works Cited page is moving up and down and all over the place. Totally messes it up. Don't do that. Just go to the right underneath the last line of your text. Here, I'm just going to go to the next line. And what we're going to do instead is insert a page break. And what that will do is no matter how much editing you do to your document, it will always break your Works Cited to the next available page. That way it always shows up in the right spot. So you go to Insert, and you go over here to the far left-hand side where it says Page Break, and you click on that. That has bumped me to the next available page, and I just type in Works with an S, and then Cited with a D because it's past tense, and then I'm going to center that because Works Cited has to be centered. So I go to Home, center that, there we go, and it's all set up. And no matter how much editing I do to my document, this will always appear on the top line of the next available page. So it'll never get screwed up when you're trying to print. And again, if you want to check, you can go to View and go to Reading View. This is like your print preview. Here's my first page. My title, my last name, and page number are there. And my Works Cited has been bumped to the top line of the next available page. And you can see that Word has put in that number 2 there. So it's filling in the page numbers correctly. So now your Word document is all ready to go. You can go back to editing so you can make changes. And it's all set up and ready to go. So I hope this was helpful, and look for other videos that are about MLA Works Cited entries and then how to cite your sources in your actual text. Have a good day.